Okay. Good morning, Tess. I am here to have my final discussion on our last topic for G14, and this is on progress report. So we have had already previous discussions on different technical documents, but this time I am going to discuss a technical document that is very essential in a workplace. So this technical document is a progress report. So just to give you a general background or an introduction to what a progress report is, a progress report lets you document the status of an activity, explaining what work has been accomplished and what work remains. Now, in a workplace, it is highly expected that you will be implementing various programs, or you will be implementing as well some mechanisms for a program or for the company or for the institution. And during the entirety of the duration of the implementation of these programs, there is a need for you to have constant monitoring. And one good way for you to constantly monitor, or if you are the supervisor, be constantly monitored or be given monitoring, is through writing a progress report. This technical document will give you the status of an activity, whether it is ongoing or it is about to end, or whether or not the activity is partially successful, or in the beginning it's already a failure. So that is how important a progress report is. Supervisors and customers want to know what progress you are making on a project, whether you are on a schedule, what difficulties you might have encountered, and what your plans are for the next reporting period. And mind you, a progress report is very, very important because it allows you to have an idea on what possible changes could be adapted or what possible modifications or adjustments should be done while the program is being implemented. That is for you to make sure that at the end of the program implementation, you are able to achieve whatever is objectified at the beginning of the program implementation. So because of this, your audience might ask you to draft progress reports. It may be daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, or annually, depending on the nature of the project or the program being implemented. Now, to give you further examples, I have here the different uses of progress reports depending on the field being talked about. Let's start with biomedical technology. You and your team are developing a new heart monitor. This entails researching, patenting, building, testing, and marketing. So you have been working on this project for months. So what's your status? A progress report will definitely tell you tell your investors rather and supervisors where you stand, if you are on schedule, and when the project will conclude. Through this, your potential investors or your supervisors will have a full grasp of what's happening in the implementation or in the development of the new heart monitor. So that's one example. Another example is in the field of hospitality management. So for those who are taking up tourism or hotel and restaurant management, this is the perfect example. The city's convention center is considering new catering options. Your job has been to compare and contrast catering companies to see which one or ones would be suited for the convention center's needs. So the deadline is arriving for a decision. So what's the status? Whom have you considered? What are their prices and food choices? And what additional services they offer? They offer? So you need to submit a progress report so that the management can determine what the next steps should be. For example, or another example is when we talk about project management. So for example, if you are the engineering student or if you will become a future engineer, definitely there will be a lot of instances when you will be asked to be part of the project management team. Okay, so if you are part of this team, well, definitely writing a technical document comes as a staple. So your company is renovating its home office. Many changes have occurred. These include new carpeting, walls moved to create larger cubicles, the construction of larger conference rooms, a new cafeteria and fitness center, and improved lighting. Other changes are still in progress, such as increased parking spaces, exterior landscaping, a childcare center, and handicapped accessibility. So the supervisor wants to know when these renovations will be concluded. So in this case, you need to write a progress report to quantify what has occurred, what work is remaining, and when work will be finished. Most especially in a project management, it is very important to determine the progress. Why? Because The supervisors, potential investors, or potential partners might be very interested about the run or the flow of the project implementation. So if you are part of the project management team, from time to time, you will be asked to write technical documents, and one of these is a progress report. Okay? Gerson and Gerson in 2012 proposed a sample format for a progress report. And this is the format. First one, there should be an introduction wherein you are to give the overview or the background of the progress report. So the objectives here may include the following. Why are you working on this project? What is the rationale? What problems motivated the project? What do you hope to achieve and who initiated the activity? So in the introduction part of your progress report, it is very, very important that you clearly identify the overview or the background of the project or the of the project or the proposal being implemented, the program being implemented. So you have to look at the very reason or the rationale, the objectives why you are working on that project, the problems that might have motivated the conduct or the implementation of the project, and what are the goals after the implementation, and who are the people in charge or the ones who initiate the activity. Okay? Personnel, with whom are you working on this project? For example, work, team, liaison, contacts. So everyone who is in part or who takes part in the implementation of the project must be included here in the introductory part of the progress report. Previous activity. If this is the second, third, or fourth report in a series, remind your readers what work has already been accomplished, bring them up to date with background data or a reference to previous reports. So for example, it is your second time to write a progress report for that project. So it is very important that you provide first a background of what happened when you wrote your first progress report. Okay, that is to set the context so that the readers, whoever the readers will be, could have a full understanding on why the progress of that project or implemented program is like that already. Okay, so previous activity needs to be mentioned. The second important section is the discussion portion, wherein you are to include findings, the body, or it's considered the body of your progress report or the agenda. Okay, so here you need to clearly identify the work accomplished. So you use subheadings, you itemize the work accomplished either through a chronological list or a discussion organized by importance. So here you can simply present it in a bullet form. Okay, simply provide an enlistment of the things that have been accomplished already for the given period of time. Problems encountered need also to be identified. Okay, you have to inform your reader or readers of any difficulties encountered, for example, late shipments, delays, poor weather, labor shortages, okay, difficulties with manpower, and other problems that might have existed during the implementation of the project. This is not only to justify your possibly being behind schedule, but also to show the readers where you will need help to complete the project. Okay, this is also one good way for you to clearly identify and recommend possible actions or solutions should there be existing problems during the implementation of the project. Okay, and then another thing that you need to include is work remaining. You have to tell your reader what work you plan to accomplish next. So you have to list these activities if possible for easy access. In this case, a visual aid such as a chart or a figure or a table fits well after these two sections. So the chart will graphically depict both work accomplished and work remaining. Maybe you can present the work remaining portion in a non-prose manner wherein you will be using, let's say, charts, figures, or any other non-prose materials, infographics maybe. So all of these could be possibly used in creatively presenting the work remaining. That is to not only present descriptively what's happening at the project, but also to give you an overview of what's really happening through these figures or charts or other non-prose materials available. Okay? We also have conclusion and recommendations. For the conclusion, you need to sum up what you have achieved during this reporting period and provide your target completion date. Okay? Recommendations include problems, or if problems were presented in the discussion, you can recommend changes in scheduling, personnel, budget, or materials that will help you meet your deadlines. So conclusion and recommendations are also very essential in writing a progress report because it will allow you to really propose something should there be adjustments that have to be done during the implementation still of the project. Or if not, at least after the implementation or the second time around that you implement the project, there will be slight changes or modifications based on the problems identified in or during the first implementation of the project. Okay? So this time, guys, I'm going to show you an example. Again, formats are very ideal, but it depends from one institution to another whether or not to use this format. Okay? I could not really say that all formats are universal or true to all companies or institutions. It depends from one institution to another. So just to give you a sample of how a progress report looks like, this is it. So we have here the heading portion, to, from, date, and the subject. Okay, so if it is a daily progress report, then you have to indicate here it's daily progress report on, and then the project being implemented. Or if it's weekly, monthly, quarterly, or yearly. So you have to clearly stipulate it there as part of the subject. So here's the purpose, part of the introduction. So if you notice, the purpose of the report is clearly stipulated in this section. Work accomplished as well. Everything is itemized. Okay, the things that have been accomplished already for the period of, for a given period of time. So everything's stated there. Just read everything there. And then problems encountered. So if you notice, there have been a number of problems identified here. And this is one, again, best way for you to propose recommendations, okay, or suggestions for improvement. Work remaining would refer to those that are still to be done during the implementation, since that, I suppose the project is yet to be finished. Okay? Project completion or recommendations. Yan. And this is an example of a non-prose material through a Gantt chart showing you how a report or showing you the details of the implementation of a project. Okay? But this one, if you notice, there is no clear conclusion here. But the work remaining portion and the project completion portion are actually form part of the findings or the discussion of the progress report. You could actually insert another section here before we proceed to the recommendations. Let's say a discussion so that you could clearly discuss what's happening during the implementation of the project. And then afterwards, you provide your recommendations. Okay. Now, I guess that's all for my discussion on progress report. One thing that you really need to remember when we talk about progress report, guys, is that it is very essential in a way that without a progress report, people, most especially those from the higher ups, would have no any idea about the project being implemented. If you notice in a corporate setting, instructions come from the higher ups or the executives. And project management teams or project implementation teams are the ones really implementing the project. So if that is the case, then definitely it is the responsibility of the project implementation team to make sure that they relay proper information or details about the progress of the implemented project to the higher ups or the executives. So once again, that's how important progress reports are. So if you have questions, guys, please comment here in the open forum. And then later on, I will answer your questions should you wish to be clarified about certain aspects on progress report. Okay, thank you very much, guys. And I hope you understood my discussion.